Well, the Old Gods New Blood patch just dropped, and I'm guessing you're here because you have recognized the future of gaming, or maybe your friends bullied you into it. Either way, welcome to Deadlock, and welcome to this new player guide. In this guide, we'll be going over the core elements of Deadlock and how the game actually works. If you're familiar with how the game works already, and are looking for maybe some advice for beginners, I have another video for that, which is either coming soon or is out right now, linked in the description. While Deadlock looks like a hero shooter, it is a MOBA first and foremost. If you've heard of League of Legends, Dota 2, Smite, or any other variants, then you might already be familiar with a MOBA or MOBA style gameplay. If you're not familiar, I want to congratulate you on a very healthy life and shame you as you're about to ruin it. Right off the bat, I do want to mention that Deadlock is still actively being developed as of this video. This means that some of the information here might be outdated depending on when you watch this. However, the overall pace and play of the game is probably not going to change too much, so a good portion of this video should remain pretty relevant. If I need to make a new version of this video, it'll be in the description. You still need an invite from a friend with access to the game already in order to play as of February 2026, but invites are not very difficult. You may already have access to the game. If not, there are Discord servers and subreddits to check out, and you could probably ask in a Deadlock stream as well if someone could hook you up with an invite. We're going to be talking about a bunch of non-gameplay elements to the game first, but if you want more gameplay-oriented things first, skip to the gameplay section. There should be a chapter marker. The goal of a MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena, is to destroy the other team's base by getting through their defenses. In Deadlock, this is no different. There are Guardians, which are the first wave of defense, Walkers, the second, Tower Guardians, the third, Shrines, which when destroyed, remove the defenses of whatever patron you are fighting, aka the final boss. When queuing for a game, you'll select various heroes that you wish to play with the ability to prioritize certain characters over others. The game tries to get you your highest priority character as much as possible, but if it can't, it will take the next highest in line. The game will ask that you pick a few characters so that it can actually place you into a game in case they can't give you your main character. Each character has 3 abilities, along with an ultimate ability. Each ability, including your ultimate, has 4 stages of power, with each stage giving an additional benefit of some kind. Every certain amount of souls, aka money, you are given a boon to use to level up your abilities. Gaining access to an ability costs 1 boon, level 1 is 1 boon, 2 is 2 boons, and 3 is 5 boons. One timing to make note of is when you collect 3,600 souls, as this opens up the ability to get your ultimate. You can check your progress to your next boon with this icon on the left, which tells you your level. The highest level is 35, but you'll typically only reach this level if a game goes on a very long time or you happen to get a ton of souls. Another part of Deadlock is the melee attack. All characters can do a light melee attack, which are instant speed and very short range, heavy melee attacks, which have a sound effect and a wind-up to propel you forward a short distance and deal more damage, and the ability to parry these attacks. Light attacks are done by clicking the melee button, while heavy is done by holding the button. If you parry a melee attack, you will stun the enemy that attacked you for a brief time. However, your parry does have a short cooldown, so using it tactically is important, although there is an item that allows you to use parry much more often. If you use your parry and don't actually parry anyone, that'll give the enemy a window of opportunity to punch you in return. Certain characters like Abrams and Billy will try to take advantage of this window, so learning when to anticipate when an enemy might melee attack you is something you'll learn while playing. Next, movement is an integral part of Deadlock. It is something that sets Deadlock apart from other MOBAs. Everyone works on the stamina system, these little white bars underneath your crosshair. Almost every advanced movement, double jumping, dashing, costs 1 stamina. Most characters have 3 bars, some have 2, I think a couple have 4, and they all regenerate stamina at slightly different rates. Mastery over movement is something that will take a very long time to learn, as the skill ceiling for this is incredibly high. You'll frequently see players sliding, wall jumping, heavy melee attacking as a short dash to get on a ledge or close a gap, on top of a bunch of other things that are beyond the scope of this video. However, one movement ability shines above all else as the movement tech to learn, which is the dash jump. After a roll, you'll get a very brief window of time to do a follow-up dash that will chain these 2 movements together. Your stamina bar will turn blue for a brief moment, and this is where you hit spacebar to do the jump. Mistiming this will not consume stamina, and you'll be told that you missed the timing in the UI. This will use 2 bars of stamina, but can propel you very far distances. This is the first advanced form of movement that you should learn. With enough practice, you'll eventually learn the timing, and it'll become second nature to your gameplay, to the point where you won't even need to think about it. Otherwise, sliding is something you will frequently be doing, or at least seeing other people do, in order to keep up speed, especially sliding down stairs. One key benefit of sliding is that for all characters, you have infinite ammo while you are sliding. If you have no shots remaining in your magazine, then you will need to reload, but if you have any ammo going into a slide, you will have infinite ammo until the slide ends. Another is that sliding can preserve some momentum off of some other form of movement, so you can use this to keep up your speed. After pretty much nearly every movement that you do, you'll want to be sliding. There are many other forms of movement tech that are, again, beyond the scope of this video, but as you get more and more experienced, you'll learn how to chain your movements together in ways that allow you to fly around the map in a hurry. For now, just get used to the basics, like sliding and jump dashes. As for the stats in the game, you have weapon damage, aka orange items, spirit damage, aka purple items, and vitality, aka green items. Orange items buff your gun damage, although there are some items that buff your melee damage as well. Purple items increase your spirit damage, aka your ability damage, although some abilities do scale off of weapon items. Finally, green items are more defensively focused, boosting your health, movement speed, resistances, or other traits. How you wish to build your character out with items during the game is up to you, but generally speaking, certain builds work better than others on certain characters. Also, there are technically no assigned roles for characters like tank, damage, and support, but character kits will generally influence what kind of role that character will play. Vindicta's ultimate ability is a sniper rifle. She should not be played as a tank. Abrams is all about charging an opponent, throwing them into a wall, and then punching them. They are probably not best played as a support. Each character has dozens of player-made builds that you can find in the build browser. Some of these might be fully annotated with advice on what items to buy and when, along with recommended ability orders and upgrades. A general rule of thumb for a lot of guides that players tend to make is buying items left to right. If a guide says to buy left to right, you should probably just do that until you learn the game enough to make your own decisions or make your own builds. As for actually getting those items, you'll need to visit the shop. Shops are indicated by this green house on the map. Each Tier 1 objective also has a shop, but the shop closes once you lose that Tier 1 Guardian. There are 2 shops in the middle of the map and a shop at your base. Shops have 4 tiers of items, with Tier 4 generally having the most powerful effects. Tier 1 items cost 800, Tier 2 is 1600, Tier 3 is 3200, and Tier 4 is 6400. So try to visit the shop when you have a multiple of 800 to optimally spend your money. You can sell items back for half of their value if they've been in your inventory for a little while, although if you buy something on accident, you can sell it back immediately for full price. As you buy items of certain types, you will gain bonuses to those stats, so the more purple items you buy, the more bonus spirit power you will gain. There is also the 4,800 soul investment bonus. When you purchase 4,800 souls worth of item classes, so orange, purple, and or green, you are given a bonus to that particular stat. 4,800 souls worth of orange items, so weapon or melee based items, gives you bonus weapon damage. 4,800 in spirit items, aka purple, gets you bonus spirit power. 4,800 in green items, aka health or vitality, gets you boosts in your health. So if you ever hear anyone talk about a 4.8k investment power boost, this is what they are referring to, and you should try to keep track on how much you've spent on items to recognize this power spike. This is a relatively new addition to the game though, so this may or may not exist anymore depending on how Valve feels about it. One more thing is the HUD. This was very recently updated to include a ton of information that will be important during gameplay. You can find out how many souls everyone has, their items, which abilities they've upgraded, and a ton of other things that will be more helpful as you learn the game. Most of the time though, you will use this to see 1, how many souls someone has, 2, what their health is, and 3, if they have their ultimate indicated by the eyeball under their portrait. Next, or first if you skipped here, let's talk gameplay. Deadlock's map is split into 3 lanes, yellow, green, and blue, or York, Greenwich, and Broadway, with 2 characters per lane for a total of 6 players per team. Unlike other MOBAs, there is no jungler role. Everyone plays in the lane, but everyone can venture into the jungle, or alleyways in this case, to take out neutral minion camps. Both halves of the map are the same and contain the same minions and camps. More on the jungle later. While ziplining out to your lane, you will have the option to switch lanes by pressing the button underneath someone's character portrait. This will send an invite to switch lanes with that player, which that player needs to accept first. If they do, you will automatically switch lanes. Note that after everyone lands after the start of a match, this option is no longer available and you will need to manually walk to the other lane if it's agreed upon by your teammate. Do not create 3 versus 2 laning situations without a plan first, for reasons we'll discuss other than just not being a jerk. Also, everyone gets a zipline speed boost buff that they can activate every few minutes, which increases the speed that you move on the zipline for a short time. You don't get access to this buff until a couple minutes after the game has started though. You should be using the zipline as much as possible to move around the map. However, you cannot use it within 3 seconds of taking enemy damage, and enemy players can shoot you off the zipline if they catch you latching onto it within a couple of seconds. This results in a very hefty stun and knocks you off the zipline, so be careful jumping onto it when other players are in line of sight. Yes, even the tiniest amount of damage will knock you off the zip. The game starts with the laning phase, where you start to earn income and start buying early game items. This phase doesn't have a set duration, but it is usually in between 10 to 15 minutes, or until a lot of tier 1 objectives are destroyed and people start wandering around the map. Every so often, 4 troopers from each side will spawn and take the zipline down to the lane until they find other troopers or are shot down manually by another player. These troopers drop souls, aka your money, when killed. These souls are dropped in 2 ways simultaneously. The first is just a ball of souls on the ground. You need to get within 18 meters of this ball on the ground, and when you do, the ball will automatically fly over to you and you'll be granted souls. If you're already within range when the minion is killed, then this will just happen automatically. The other way is the airborne soul. When a trooper is killed, a soul will float out of them and become shootable after about a second. If you shoot this soul, you get the money. If nobody shoots it, you also get the money. If the enemy team shoots it before you do, they get the money. So securing your souls, especially in the early game, is crucial to keeping your money up, although it will not necessarily keep your funny up, which to some people does matter more. Note that melee killing enemy troopers, whether it's a light attack or a heavy attack, will not spawn the floating soul orb and instead will just automatically give you all souls associated with that trooper. The method in which souls drop has changed quite a lot since I first got access to the game, so this may vary going into the future. Medic troopers, which look like this compared to a normal trooper, also drop medic packs when killed. Once you step within range of this medic pack, it'll track to you and heal you and anyone else within a certain radius of you, similar to the soul ball. This heal is also split between everyone who is healed by it, so if it would normally heal for 300, it would split 150 between 2 players, 100 for 3 players, etc., just an example. Souls are split between all nearby players as well, so the more people near any souls that are collected, the more the souls are split. You do also need to be within a certain range of troopers in order to collect souls. Being in a lane by yourself is the most efficient soul farm, and you'll likely have a few opportunities to do this in a match. Check your minimap often to see what lanes are empty to see if there are any big soul gaining opportunities. The amount of souls that drop from all sources increases as the time goes on in a match. So boxes might only be dropping 30 at the start, but 30 minutes in, they'll be dropping 80, 90, 100 souls per box. We'll talk about boxes next. At 2 minutes, Tier 1 jungle minions will spawn in, along with boxes and statues. These are the weakest jungle minions available, but they're still worth doing as often as possible. Boxes, on the other hand, spawn all over the map, and on average, every 1 in 2 boxes contains a certain amount of souls based on how long the game has gone on. It is absolutely worth hitting or shooting these boxes to see if they have any souls inside while moving around the map. They all respawn over time. In addition to boxes are gold statues, which also periodically respawn. These can contain small permanent buffs for your character for the rest of the match, also scaling up in strength as the game goes on. The buffs they contain are things like bonus health, rate of fire on your weapon, spirit power, weapon damage, cooldown reduction, or maximum ammo. Pretty much all of the buffs are good for every character, and there's never a reason to pass up a buff unless someone else is nearby who could use it more, like a gun damage-based character getting a max ammo buff over a spirit user. That being said, it's incredibly rare that I've shot open a statue and told someone else to go get the buff inside. While in the laning phase, you'll be skirmishing against 2 enemy characters in your lane, and these interactions will vary greatly between matches. You might be playing against more aggressive players in one match and more passive ones in another. One game might have a more favorable matchup, the next might completely counter you, so be ready for anything. At 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes after, will spawn the bridge buffs. There are 2 bridges in between each lane, and 2 random buffs of the 4 potential buffs in the game will spawn on these bridges. The 4 buffs are health, spirit, gun, and movement, and they last about 3 minutes, buffing that particular stat. At 6 minutes, Tier 2 minion camps spawn in, which either have a mix of Tier 1 and Tier 2 minions or all Tier 2s. At 8 minutes in, Tier 3 camps spawn in, which are the strongest camps and are a bit tougher to take on when they first spawn in. So it's not going to be very easy or even the best use of most people's time to fight these when they first spawn in. Something that also spawns in at 8 minutes is the Sinner's Sacrifice, aka what I have been trying to get people to call the Goody Hut, but it hasn't caught on, and I'm not sure it will. Anyway, the Goody Hut is a machine that can give you 4 of those golden statue buffs that we talked about earlier if you hit a correct timing on the machine. These things have 500 health, a light melee hits it for 50, a heavy hits it for 100, but it deals 80 damage to you every single time you attack it. Once you hit it for 400 damage, it will do a little jingle sound effect and the lights on the machine will start filling up. If you time your heavy melee to land as all of the lights fill up, you will get a bunch of souls and 4 random permanent buffs. If you do a light attack, you will only get 1 buff, and if you miss the timing with any punch, then the machine just breaks and you get nothing. The timing window for the heavy melee attack is around when the 3rd to last light is activating, assuming you are standing very close to the machine. Practice this in a bot lobby to get the hang of it. Just be aware that in the early game, these hurt pretty badly, so watch your health. These respawn every 5 minutes. An important thing to know about these jungle camps and the Goody Hut is that the souls you gain from these things are unsecured, shown in the form of a silver ball on your back. These souls slowly become secured over time, but it is very slow. Not only that, if you are killed with unsecured souls, they will drop on the ground in the form of this silver sphere, and anyone can heavy punch them to grab them off the floor. This sphere is very commonly referred to as a bag. So if you have a lot of unsecured souls, you should either spend them immediately or play cautiously until you can spend them. But also note that even when you spend souls, the unsecured souls will be the last souls spent. So just double check on your way out. At 10 minutes, the final spawn comes into play, the mid-boss. Generally speaking, you will probably not fight the mid-boss for a little while, as you only want to fight it when a lot of the opposing team is dead or unable to fight back, and respawn timers for the first 15 to 20 minutes of a game are relatively short. Killing the mid-boss gives 2 permanent buffs for each player, some money, and drops the Rejuvenator Crystal, which anyone can attack. Heavy attacking the Rejuve Crystal after it has landed gives you 1 Rejuve charge, and this crystal can be attacked 3 times. A Rejuve Crystal charge will allow someone who has died to respawn on the battlefield after 3 seconds, although this effect can only trigger once per person. This effect alone can allow teams to finish games or complete big objectives, as it effectively creates a 9v6 situation. Also at 10 minutes and every 5 minutes after that is the Soul Urn. The urn is a jar of talking souls that you need to deliver to the other side of the map as indicated on the minimap. As of this video, dropping off the soul urn happens instantly, although in the past, it did require you to stay in place and fill a meter up before it was considered delivered. If delivered successfully, a bunch of shootable souls will fly out from the jar, so be sure to secure them because the enemy team can steal them if they're nearby. The person who delivered the urn will also get 4 permanent buffs, like from the gold statues. The souls from the soul urn are distributed to your entire team no matter where they are on the map. If the total soul difference between the 2 teams is pretty close, the delivery point will be on the opposite side of the map in the middle of the map. If your team is winning by a lot, the delivery point will be on the opponent's side of the map. If your team is losing a lot, the delivery point will be on your side of the map. This is to make it harder for the team that's winning and easier for the team that's losing as somewhat of a catch-up mechanic. However, when you hold the urn, everyone can see exactly where you are, and you can't use any abilities, but you can drop the urn at any time. The urn is usually a big point of contention, and entire team fights can and will start over this objective. Next, let's talk about dying. In-game. Early on in the game, res timers will be very short, near instant in the first few minutes of a match. As the game progresses, death timers increase and can reach over a minute in later parts of a match. A newly added rule to the game is that your wealth will determine your res timer. If you have more souls than the average of the enemy team, your timer will be longer, and how much longer depends on how many more souls you have. If you're really rich compared to the enemy, then your death timer might be another 5, 10, 15, 20, even 30 seconds longer, depending on what stage of the game you're in. Deaths after 30 minutes usually result in a 45 to 70 second long res timer. Let's talk about base defenses next, aka what you need to be destroying in order to win. The Tier 1 Guardian is the most basic of defenses. They have a beam attack that will target enemy minions unless you get within range of the Guardian and or attack another enemy player, although if you get too close then it will also just attack you. Early on, this beam attack does a good amount of damage, but after a while it gets pretty easy to just tank and deal with. You can also only hit the Guardian and all other objectives when you are close enough to it and while it is active, with close enough for this Tier 1 version being up the stairs. It is also possible to parry them by running into melee range and hitting parry, stopping their attack for a couple of seconds. Guardians start with heavy damage resistance, which decays over the first 12 minutes of the game. The Tier 2 defense is the Walker. This thing launches fireballs which leave fire on the ground, with the fireballs reducing your bullet and spirit resistance. It also has an AoE stomp that it does every so often, which does heavy damage and stuns you. Walkers start the match with very high damage resistance that eventually decays down to its lowest level at around 20 minutes in. Walkers also gain more health based on how many have died, so if there's only one remaining, it'll have a bit more health to get through. Walkers also provide a 15% bullet and spirit resistance aura to nearby players. Walkers are primarily important because destroying a walker, as of this video anyway, is what unlocks more item slots for your team. You start the game with 9 item slots, and when you kill a walker, another one opens up, with all 3 slots becoming available when all 3 walkers die, making them crucial targets in order to get more power. There have been many shifts in what actually unlocks your item slots, so this could change during development. Tier 3 defenses, aka the stuff before the base, are 2 Guardians that function the same as the Tier 1 version, just scaled up much more and having different visuals. Killing these Guardians makes it so the zipline in that particular lane moves you faster than usual. The shrines in the enemy base protect their patron, but killing both of the shrines, number 1, unlocks the patron, and number 2, makes your troopers more powerful, allowing them to push into the enemy base more easily. The shrines will cast an AoE pulse attack that curses you for a brief time if you're hit by it. Curse meaning you can't shoot or use abilities, among other things. Just don't get hit by it. The patron, whether it's the Hidden King or the Archmother, has 2 health bars. Once you break the first half, the patron will transform after around 10 to 15 seconds into their other weakened form. The patron also does this AoE curse pulse attack. When the patron transforms, anyone dead on the enemy team will have their res timers reduced by several seconds in order to give them a last chance to defend. If there are enemy players in the pit with the patron gains damage resistance and is immune to all damage if 2 or more enemy players are near it, so you'll need to deal with them first before you can deal damage to the patron. The patron also gets resistance if there are no friendly troopers nearby, so sieging it on your own will be a bit more difficult. Finally, a new mode was added to the game recently called Street Brawl. This is similar to the all random, all mid mode from League of Legends. There are 5 rounds and the first to 3 wins. To win a round, you must destroy the opponent's Guardian or Walker. This mode is great for giving new characters a spin without the stakes of a full normal match. There is no farming, no grinding, only team fighting in the lane. Each round will let you select from one of 3 items to build your character, in addition to giving you a bunch of boons to place into your skills. This mode isn't really meant to be taken as seriously as the traditional game mode, in addition to the games being much shorter in length compared to a normal match of Deadlock. And that, I think, will conclude my introduction to Deadlock. This video is mainly focused on the rules of the game, timings, how things work, but my next video will be a little more advice-driven, tips for new players, things like that, so be sure to subscribe for that one when it comes out. But I will leave you with some parting knowledge in that this is a game that is going to take a fair amount of time to figure out as a new player. There are a lot of characters to figure out, movement to learn, how to efficiently farm souls, and if you're anything like me, it's going to take you dozens of hours to get to a point where you feel like you maybe know how to play a couple of characters. Your first games will probably be pretty rough. Try not to let that discourage you. I've been able to convert some of the most adamant, I will never play this again, people into enthusiasts of the game just because they stuck with it and because so many other parts of the game feel really good to play. Best of luck out there. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.